Just going for a little drive before the show. Little drive for the 7 o'clock show. Just want to feel the wind in my hair.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back. Does anybody else want to stay? Let's ride!
Good evening, everybody. It's good to be back with you. And it's a Tuesday night. It is the 7th day of the 7th month, 26th year of the new millennium. And I would just like to welcome you all to the show here in Westchester, New York. And I'm so happy to have you by. And we've got a great guest that's coming to hang out with us tonight. It's been not too long. I saw him just a little under a month ago. No. Just a month and a day ago. Because I saw him on the Spring Fling, and then he was on the show the week before that. It is Alberto Marchetti. How are you, Alberto?
Hi, Frank.
Oh, it's good to have you back, man.
Yeah, great to be here, as always.
It's good. You know, I got a couple of things. First of all, before we do anything, congratulations to you and your lovely wife.
Thank you so much.
To your beautiful new arrival.
Yeah, we were blessed just 2 weeks ago with the arrival of our newborn baby. We named her Elena after my grandmother, so Elena Marchetti. And, we were so nervous. You're always nervous in those situations, but she's healthy, she's growing. She was born about 8 pounds, so very healthy baby.
That's awesome.
And new addition to the family. We're blessed.
How many hours of labor?
Oh my God, my wife is a trooper. I think about 26 hours.
Yeah.
We couldn't believe it. We thought it was like, okay, she's getting major contractions. Let's go to the hospital, and within an hour or two, she'll deliver. And no, we were like, not yet.
maybe for number 2. You never know.
Right. This is what I was told. Yeah.
So that's what we were told too. I mean, I guess we'll see in November what that's just so great, and I'm happy for you guys. And we were on our way up to to Maine.
You're going to Maine, yes.
Yeah, we were driving up there when I saw the text message from Alberto pops up on my dashboard over there on the car, and I said, "Oh." I clicked it real quick because I knew I hadn't heard from you in a day.
Yeah.
And I knew you were going to the hospital.
Yeah.
So I said, this must be it. And then we heard, and you know, the wait and all that time.
Yeah.
Everybody in the car start clapping. Me, Lauren, and Aurora.
Thank you. Yeah. I didn't see anything when we were going there because, you know, I crossed my fingers, crossed my toes. And then when she was born, I sent out like a few texts to a few good friends and family members. And so, but, you know, I have to say thank you to my wife because she's been fantastic, you know, like through the labor part and also through now that she's been really so attentive to the baby and taking care of her at night, you know, and that which allows me to have the flexibility to be here tonight. So
listen, the fun is only just begun. But then again, this is not your first rodeo.
Right.
This is her first rodeo.
Yes.
And it's just, I'm so happy you get to relive it all. And I'm happy that she's getting that experience now, and oh man,
yes,
I feel like everybody's having children at this point.
Yeah, right. We were talking about it just a few minutes ago. Yeah, like your friends, my friends, like everybody around us seems that they're. I guess it's a good sign. I mean, I guess after we always talk about negative things, but I guess if people are having kids,
right,
there must be a little bit of a positive outlook, right?
That's one thing we can believe in because we can't believe in anything else. It seems.
Why?
Nobody, and that's the theme of tonight. Nobody believes anything. It's just crazy, and we'll go through a lot of that. I just want to say right up front, everybody, we had to push the book club back till next week. So Monday the 13th is the first night of book club instead of tonight. Today's workflow was like a clogged sewer pipe. And I was not able to walk away from my desk until about 20 to 5. And I was there all day. Most of it was just tedious nonsense bullshit. And it's going to make a very late night for me now because I have to do all the other things that I wanted to get done. So I'm sorry to do this to you guys, but we have to push it back a week because I still had 25 pages to read. And I'm not going to, get Cliff Notes or something. That doesn't count. So just wanted to let you know that's what we're doing for that. Other than this, what else did I want to put out there for you? Oh, we have two polls right now that are live. They're both on YouTube. Even if you're watching elsewhere, hop over to the YouTube and vote in the chat room poll. And the first one in the chat room says, what is something, because this is the flip side, and who knows, maybe there's some sort of a positive silver lining that comes out of this one. What is something that is objectively better today than when you were growing up? Now, I put 4 options in here, but if you call in later on to talk with me and Alberto, obviously you bring whatever you want to the table. But the 4 options I put in there were cars and appliances, information and entertainment, medical technology, and then I'm struggling to think of any. I'm struggling to think of any has 58% of the votes, with medical technology at 20. Medical technology has gotten much better. I mean, obviously, the industry itself has turned a lot of people off. So that's the whole thing here. That's the whole thing here that I think is interesting. Medical technology at 19%, information and entertainment at 15%, even though shows like this, gatherings like this would not be possible when I was a child.
Yes, correct.
And then cars and appliances. I think cars have become interesting, but I think that they're a little bit too computer-based and a little bit too susceptible to breaking down in ways that, like most other things, almost like how everything's going in medicine. If there's one thing you can criticize against medicine, it is the specialization of everything, where, you know, you have to go to a toenail specialist. You can't just go to a doctor who covers you from head to toe. You have 5,000 specialists. All of them have different opinions on what the trajectory of your health plan should go, and there's all types of conflict and whatever.
Yeah.
So, but here's the thing that I wanted to bring up with you. First thing for Alberto, because I look at this and I say, I think what really gets in the way of most of us being a little bit more forgiving, a little bit more optimistic about how far we really have come is the fact that the institutions, the people, the groups that have been largely in control have been the expert bodies that usually control and direct all of these industries. They have broken and destroyed the trust that they have with average people to the point where everybody is a little bit more out of self-preservation too, ready to throw the baby out with the bathwater than anything else. And I think that this poll really reflects a little bit of the other stuff we're going to talk about tonight.
Yeah, there's definitely been a fragmentation of what people consider the truth. I think the first cracks we saw probably in the late 50s, beginning of the 60s, but as technology increased and, now everybody can stream, everybody can publish, and the news source is no longer a monolith, unique news source. There's just so much contrasting information. And if you're an educated person, you're going to be a little bit skeptic of what gets presented in front of you. So it's a double-edged sword, right? From one side, we're probably not as much influenced by propaganda anymore, but at the same time, also this kind of contrasting news kind of divides who we are as a nation.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm with you on that one. There is I think the one thing that I left out of this was education, because there's in no way, shape, or form has that gotten better. There are people out there. There are really great teachers and educators out there who are fighting like hell to beat back the tide and sound the alarm and try to be the lone voice in what seems to be a vast wilderness of just crazy people who are there to prepare to prepare generations worth of people for what it seems to be lives of compliance.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's true.
So I didn't even include that because what's the point? But I think by and large, everything on this list, at least to me, has gotten better.
Better in some ways, but not in others, right? So it's interesting. Like you talked about the medical field, you talked about cars and technology. Yes, like the technology did get better, but somehow in the process, we lost a little bit of the soul that came with it. So if we see cars from the 50s and the 60s, you see the old Corvettes, right? The old Thunderbirds and so on. Even more recent cars like Porsche that were naturally aspirated, manual. There was a soul to the car, right? You heard the engine roar. So yeah, the Teslas are beautiful, but we lost in the process some of the soul and some of the design. It seems that everything is almost like designed by machines instead of humans. We lost a little bit of that human quality. And this goes back to the medical field too. We just had this, the baby come, and you see the hospitals are much better, more modern. Every instrumentation, every analysis, every test you can do is fantastic. But then when you need that personal touch, sometimes is no longer there,
Yeah.
That human touch that made maybe hospitals 50 years ago, better in that sense. So it's a double-edged sword, As we progress in one direction, we're going to lose along the way some valuable factors that we should try to retain as much as possible.
I was thinking about the obviously the non-human aspect of all this is going to come into play.
With the AI, right? As the AI grows more and more, yes.
AI, AI as we know it today,
right.
The computing systems, I know it's a colloquial, acronym that we all use AI, but it's just a little bit more advanced of what we were dealing with back in 2005, 6 or so, when people started making MySpace friend adders. Mm-hmm. It's just things were a little bit more primitive back then. You can add, delete friends, auto messages, all that other stuff. Then, of course, we started getting auto messages and chat bots that were a little bit more, they can handle basic responses. And then, of course, it just gets higher and higher. But even back then, it was possible to astroturf opinions into comment sections. I mean, there were people who had already back in 2007, 2008, they had already mastered all the programming skills that would be needed to create armies of fake Twitter accounts and anything else that you need to be able to just jump in with comments. Comments at first that when you're first seeing it for the first time, you think you're getting a real comment, and now it's so stealthy and it's so responsive that it plays a much bigger hand in astroturfing opinions on any given topic that are popping up. Or even if it's just there to subvert a person who is settling on having some one conviction or another. I don't even think that a lot of the organizations out there really care what you believe as long as you're confused about something.
Right. I feel that emotion often. Every piece of news that I read, and I'm always on Reddit because I like this kind of like crowdsourced information sites where people post and people can comment. And I'm always wondering if the comments I'm reading are authentic or they're bots. Is it some kind of like I don't know, some kind of group that wants to just steer the conversation in a certain direction? And by doubting so much after 2-3 comments, often enough let's close, swipe right, let's read the next piece of news. And this maybe is what they actually want. They want you not to engage because, when you don't trust the source anymore, you just close it, move on to other things. So yeah, we are manipulated, either we want it or not sometimes. And this is the scary part.
Been seeing a lot of people not necessarily debate nor complain, but just make observations about the death of what I would call normal internet culture.
Mm-hmm.
And this one is pretty fascinating because people are noticing more and more. We've talked about dead internet theory for years now.
Right.
But I think it's becoming a little bit more of an actual, it's one of those things with anything that would be considered a conspiracy theory where there's something about the world that just seems off. So you pull together unconventional thoughts and try to see, what might be an alternative reason for what's happening here and how nefarious is it and who gains from one operation or another. And when it comes to dead internet theory, the controlling of information always seems to be the aim, of course, to get rid of places where humans are gathering and all to try to break that all up, like the way that 4chan used to be in the past and stuff like that. But people are noticing now every day that being online really has just become mainly either rage bait, debate bait, engagement farming, however you want to call it, but that whole kind of main character behavior.
Right.
And it's probably why I'm not doing, I'm not as nearly as visible as I once was on the internet because I just feel like a tool when I'm posting just for the sake of posting. So naturally I fall way behind, but there's a growing backlash against this internet, this internet feeling like every interaction has to become content.
I feel like, lately, I don't know when it started, maybe a year ago, but I feel a lot of this whenever I use the internet, I feel everything is just so curated. Let's talk about just regular queries, search. When I was using Google in the past, it was interesting that it gave you some you could search anything and it will give you some interesting websites will appear. And then you could go to page 2, page 3, page 10, page 11. And the websites that will recommend will be different ones from page 1. And I don't know what happened in the past year or so. I feel it always pushes the same kind of it has sort of 10 preferred websites that when you do a search of anything, those are the 10 answers that it wants to give you. And if you kind of go further down in the pages, somehow it recycles the same 10 web pages that was already proposing on the first page.
Yes.
So I feel like it's kind of like a snake eating its own tail. like you're trying to go deeper within the web to find alternative theories, alternative information, but you're getting spoon-fed the same thing over and over, the same thing over and over. It seems like it's so curated that a lot of fringe searches that might actually educate you to figure out really what's going on or not appearing. And then at that point, you resort to AI, but then the AI gives you a summarized version, which is the summarized version that's sort of approved. On my way here, because I know we were going to talk about certain political topics, I was just chatting with ChatGPT as I was driving, asking questions. And it's interesting, I could not get ChatGPT to give me the answer that I wanted. Sort of like it was just going around.
What was the question?
No, just about Charlie Kirk. I know we were going to talk about that. And, I wanted to see, it was like, about the assassination of Charlie Kirk, the bullet. Oh, there's no official information about the bullet that struck Charlie Kirk. I was like, okay, so give me the unofficial information. I'm sure there's some theories out there about where the bullet came from. Was the bullet found? Was what kind of bullet it was? And it will just repeat over and over on loop. Charlie Kirk was assassinated in 2025, blah, 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 blah. No, yeah, but I'm asking you about the bullet. And it was just reiterating the same speech that it gave me 10 times, and I could not get ChatGPT to break that loop. I was like, that's not the question I asked. I asked about the bullet. There's no accredited theory about the bullet. Okay, give me the unaccredited ones. And it will just not give me that information. I'm sure there's somebody that talked about it. I'm sure there's some website. Why can I not compile that information?
I know.
It's curated in a certain way. They're spoon feeding us what they think we should hear.
Well, the crazy thing is you just said right there that you're talking about just getting on Google and say, stay away from AI, stay away. Well, AI is actually replacing search. And that's why I'm saying you have to learn how to use these new tools, because where people are going to find themselves in a lot of trouble, like if I have to ask an inconsequential question, that has to do with math, or if I just want to get a roundabout, ballpark idea of one thing or another, and we're in a broadcast situation, I'll go on Gemini real quick and ask it a question that, break down how many taxpayers there are in the country.
Sure.
But if you're doing research, you're going to one of these large language models and you are asking it questions, and you're just taking what is right there instead of trying to see, what links is it going to bring you to and all that other stuff. Like what you're talking about before, whenever I go on Google or Brave or whatever the hell it is, I'm always looking for a source that looks like a blog at first. Like I want to see something that is so amateur. I look for amateur shit first, because I know there's going to be a little bit of editorializing, but it might be a little bit more on the schizo side and not so much on the mainstream, limited hangout corporate side of things. I'd like to start there. But AI is replacing search now. I was reading this just a couple of days. Actually, no, this was today. This is on tradingview.com.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that you brought it up right now, it's a great little segue over there. Where the hell are you? There you go. Oh, wait, no, you shouldn't be up there.
I read it again.
Get down here. So listen to this. Reddit detects 25,000 daily spam posts as AI marketing battle intensifies. The online discussion platform, whose forums are used by AI chatbots as a source of internet information. Think about that. Reddit being a source for anything other than mental illness is crazy. It's intensifying its fight against the stealth marketing content designed to influence responses from tools such as ChatGPT and Gemini. OpenAI and Alphabet, the parent company behind Gemini, have content deals with Reddit that allow their AI tools to draw from the site's forums, where users often share direct views on products, services, and other topics. This has made Reddit is a national security threat, by the way.
I feel so sometimes too, yeah.
This has made Reddit a more important source for AI-generated recommendations, while as also making the platform a target for marketers trying to plant posts and comments that may later appear in chatbot answers as authentic user opinions. Yes. So people are realizing that AI companies train their products on Reddit posts, and which is causing marketers to flood Reddit with fake conversations about products and services or whatever the hell else, which then become AI training data,
Yes.
and then it becomes future facts.
Right. Yes.
And I mean, this is of course becoming a recursive loop. And ironically, Reddit itself announced that it's fighting tens of thousands of AI spam and marketing posts every day because of exactly this concern. And so you want to talk about all the different little reasons that people don't even know why there's less and less reasons to believe everything, at least at first blush. But I mean, we have to go through several more layers of verification before you can speak confidently on anything, which is probably why I hold my tongue on a lot of things that are happening now and breaking. And I just sit back and watch everybody else eat each other alive because shit, man, I don't know. I just don't know what the hell is coming out at first.
It's very hard to identify where the truth stands. Like, again, like we were doing when we were talking just a little bit before about like searches and even AI queries. Like we always get this like mainstream answer. And whenever we try to just see the flip side, right? The other side of the coin to get more like fringe theories. Yeah, it never comes up. It's just not there. It doesn't get offered to you. And then when you go to Google and try to find it there, it just doesn't appear there either. So it's very hard to understand. Yeah, for every argument, I want to see any conflict. Okay, Israel versus Palestine. I would like to see the Palestine explanation, but I want to see also the Israel explanation. So I can make, I can kind of like, based on my personal experience, see where I will, where I lay opinion-wise. But it's really hard to get both sides. Yeah. It's very strange, yes. And going back to Reddit, yes, again, I feel, especially during the last political campaign, election campaign in the US, I feel those, most of the posts were either bots or really like some political agents that have multiple accounts. Because again, like when you and I walk around the street, and New York, it's a very liberal kind of state. But if we walk around, you kind of see both sides, right? I don't know, maybe it's not 50-50, maybe it's 60-40, but if you walk down to the common people on the street and you ask opinion, you'll see some people are pro one party, others are for another party, some people are more in the middle. But when I was on Reddit during the latest election period, everything was very left-wing. And there was no dissent at all, no dissent. Like, one comment, two comments at least that will point, hey, I think you're wrong. I think this is how we should see this. No, it was monolithic towards the left, which it can't be statistically, can't be the representation of the U.S. And, so there's something there. Either the more right-wing comments were suppressed, or these are just like all artificial comments that are generated by people that have a political agenda and so on. Yeah.
It's easy to spot.
Yeah,
it's easy to spot, and at least for people who are looking for it. And I was, I was watching this. What the hell was it called? I mean, actually, as far as training AI goes, this thought it was like around this time last year. I started because I got I pay for the Twitter extended, like the blue, not the business level, but like the
check mark, right?
Yeah,
that's what we're talking about?
I don't care about that. I was care about the streaming.
Yes.
You can't stream. I said, well, I'd like to be able to stream, so I paid the $8 a month.
Sure.
If I could get rid of the check mark, I would. I don't give a shit about that. But I remember around that time, I started realizing that this guy, who also goes by Quite Frankly on the internet, tried to create some legal troubles for me because he went and he bought a fruity little trademark and thought that he could eliminate 17 years of work that I've done on this show alone. But anyway, other than that, I started training because I realized that what he probably did was he was really training AI and search engines to say that he was the Quite Frankly, because when I went, I said, okay, well, listen, I have Twitter, so I might as well go ask Grok some questions. I asked Grok about my show. So tell me a little bit about Quite Frankly, the show. And it told me this other guy, Frank, was the I said, oh no.
Was he in your same space, like in a radio show, podcast show?
Well, no, not in my same space. He's a fraud. He's a total fraud. But otherwise, but he was doing everything he could to make himself look legitimate.
Right, gotcha.
And so I made sure that I just started having conversations with Grok every once in a while to make sure that I don't know if that training made it just customize it for me. So if anybody else goes out there and says, ask Grok or something like that, hey, tell me a little something about Quite Frankly, the show. Don't call it the Quite Frankly podcast, but or say whatever the hell you want. Let me know what comes back to it. I'm curious about that because I really wanted to, I was so salty at one point last year.
I'm sure you were, man. 17 years. Come on.
Well, yeah, just with one project. Yeah. And it was just pissing me off. It was pissing me off, especially since I started realizing that I had much bigger work ahead of me with the way that everything else was changing in the internet. I mean, you're talking about it right now. You're talking about how major search engines recommend news to you. Like there's obviously the inner workings of one company or another that's out there curating information and searching it and crawling the internet for data for you. It has its own ranking system, and a lot of it I don't know how intelligent and how reliant it is on user data, like what people prefer, what people click on the most, and therefore that becomes more recommended than other things that might actually be a little bit more, first of all, varied, a little bit more diverse as far as information goes. Same thing is going on with YouTube, Rumble, Twitter, everything else that actually forces everything into engagement farming, forces everything into this negative space of constant content production that is really far less social than we always thought social media would be. And I told Lauren this too when she asked me how things were going. I just, I was just honest with her one day. I was really pissed off when I was writing. Today's one of those days I was pissed off when I was writing. Because not for this show, I knew it'd be easy to talk with you and we can just riff on anything. But in general, the thrill that the anticipation and the joy that I get from doing this show over the years, knowing I'm coming to the studio and I'm going to connect with this audience because I love this audience and it's just been so good to me and it's been great to meet them all and watch it grow.
Yeah, they're amazing people, yes.
And then 3 years ago, that audience doesn't mean anything anymore. To the platforms. All of a sudden, I started realizing, it really started dawning on me last year. I always knew I should be putting a little bit more short content out there to grow the brand, but I didn't realize that everything was actually changing toward that in a way that would, at least in somebody like my position, the thing that I got the most joy out of was writing for this audience. I was writing for this audience. I came to the studio every night knowing it's probably going to be a good show because I know what the audience likes and we have a good time together.
Right.
And now somebody in my position needs to write for what they believe the platform is going to recommend to people who may or may not be subscribers.
Right.
Which I don't particularly give a fuck about. I just want to reach my own people. And that sucks, man.
Look, I face this in business all the time. You know how I have like this small clothing businesses and we try to sell online and this kind of stuff. I think one of the biggest challenges, again, with the platforms and such is that they rewrite the rules of the game all the time and they don't communicate that to you. You know, if we're playing a game and I know how the game works, those are the rules. I play by the rules. I know how to win the game. I know how to be ahead, how to, get the eyeballs on my product or in your case on your show. But sometimes every 6 months, the rules of the algorithm get rewritten. So you were mentioning shorts. All of a sudden, maybe shorts are the ones that makes your content stand out, and they just rewrite it. And maybe you were great at writing blogs that were loved by your audience, but all of a sudden that puts you in the lower tier of the platform. So I hate how they change the rules all the time of the game, and you don't know really what the rules are to be on top of the algorithm. And sometimes I mean, that creates uncertainty, which often companies have to pay so-called experts in order to help you with marketing at that point, because they at least they think they know that there's a solution, but we don't know if they know.
Yeah.
So it's always changing. You're always playing catch up. It's very challenging.
It is, and then there's the other thing. Then we start coming back to the human mind again. And the one thing that has happened, and what, obviously there's always a way that you can make it work in your favor, which is why, hey, I can take a moment to say, shit, I hate this, but I brush that off and I get right back to work and figure out how to better align myself and make me, put myself in a position to have that next epiphany hit me and show me where I need to be.
Mm-hmm.
But the one thing that I do, and I'm sure everybody out there has realized, is that since certain changes in the last 3 to 4 years have happened, and yes, streaming was something that was a little bit more prioritized. The short content has also done something to people's ability to concentrate, and because it's not everybody's watching short documentaries about something and learning something. A lot of it is just like cotton candy bullshit, which I can't listen. I have fun, going on a joy scroll late at night. If I don't have the capacity to read anymore or to do anything, and I just want 5 minutes, hopefully to find some ridiculous shit to laugh at, fine. But there's something to be said here about, like, when you're told, all right, well, if you're going to put a successful reel out there, if you're going to have a chance at success, Alberto, then you need to have the hook in the first 3 seconds.
True.
Yes. If you waste more than 3 seconds, people are gone. Like, that is the craziest elevator pitch I've ever even conceived of. Like, what the hell do you need to? What does that say about us?
Not all content can be consumed in 3 seconds. Yes.
3 seconds. It's like, what the fuck are we gonna do here? And but I think everything that we're talking about here really gets into people's mindset, especially when a big piece of news breaks. Right. Nothing more telling than what's happening just with this pre-trial with Charlie Kirk.
That's correct.
And so I don't know what you've actually looked into. I've just been I've dropped in on several live streams from time to time. I leave it running a little bit while I'm working, but other than that, I've just been following a couple of accounts for a little bit of guidance of what's going on, because it doesn't seem like anything too crazy has happened yet. But True. I'm more so analyzing how people are chopping it up with each other in comment sections, and that's where I see a lot of these things we're discussing really coming to light.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't seem that there's been a lot of revelations with the pretrial as of yet. Well, as you mentioned on the comments, and actually also a lot of the content creators around that space, they come up with really wild theories. I guess because that attracts eyeballs on their accounts and their stories. But it's a very interesting case. I think it's a very important case for the U.S. when it comes to violence against people that express their freedom of speech, First Amendment. But we'll see where it goes. I'm very curious if it's really the accepted narrative of the lone shooter is the correct one, or something more nefarious comes up. We'll see.
Here's what I want to bring people in for the show, because I know there's quite a few people out there. I'd love to have my cousin Sherry in here maybe next week. I know she's been covering this a lot too, and just following it. She consumes a lot of what Candace Owens does and stuff.
Yeah, Candace is on a tangent. Huh?
I mean, I stopped really following after the whole France thing fell apart.
I see.
Because I wanted to see if we were going to war with France. That would have been the only appropriate response.
I don't know if you want to go on that tangent, but man, what happened to her? I really watched a lot of her videos, and I always found that she was interesting. I really saw her as a proper investigative journalist, but some of the latest stuff, I can't connect. She's connecting dots where I don't think they are. I'm not sure. Again, maybe it's great content for her channel. She gets a lot of eyeballs. That's advertising content, money that comes in. But some stuff seems so far-fetched, and she seems so sure about it. And I, like, yeah, if I wish if they were so sure about it, they will provide more like proof,
Well, proof is one of those things where even if you got proof this day, no matter what the topic is, even if you got proof of anything these days, there's going to be, just by law of, being contrarian, like there's going to be a huge amount of people who need to be contrarian, because to take anything that is offered to you from any source that presents itself to be authoritative seems to be an act of normie subservience. So there can never,
I see that. Yes.
There can never be just an acceptance of something that might just be Occam's razor. This is all it is. So you're never going to get everybody on the same page, no matter what year it is. But now, especially now, it's bad. The preliminary hearing, though, that we're looking through right now, which this has been like the number one story in political circles since that last September. It's almost a year now.
Yes.
And it's no longer just about who killed Charlie Kirk. The argument has splintered into multiple camps. It's obviously right now we're talking about the prosecution, whether the prosecution has a solid case or not, about there just being no proof of, visual evidence. Hey, can you see that he's the one doing it? Is there an admission of guilt? There doesn't seem to have been. I don't think there was a guilty plea. Doesn't seem to be any kind of denial, or doesn't seem to be in any way, shape.
Yeah, I heard that there's possibly a vocal recording, a message that he sent to his partner, where he admitted of doing it. Again, this is hearsay, has not been presented in court
those are the
yet.
Discord. You're talking about the Discord messages and shit from last year?
The Discord, but I heard that there was also maybe a phone call, a message, a voicemail recorded, but has not been presented in court yet.
This thing has been feasted upon by so many different types of people.
Right.
It's just been I very rarely use the word grifting, but it has been a griftathon.
Right.
For a long time.
Again, we go back to what you brought up at the very beginning. We don't know where the truth is, right? There's so much information. We cannot really weigh the facts.
There's a lot of things that, and I'm not saying, and that's the whole thing here about the official stories. There's plenty here that I don't buy, and there's something more to it. But whenever there are outstanding questions I have, I don't immediately run all the way over to the everything is bullshit side, just to be, that's not, I don't believe the right response for accepting everything as being true. So there's something here that I don't get it. And one of the biggest discussions point today is that I think that the defense continues to focus heavily on procedural and procedural challenges to, what kind of evidence is being brought forward. So I think that the Tyler Robinson's defense, they wanted to have certain compilation videos of security footage being struck from the
right, because this is pre-trial, right? So they have to judge the validity and the of the proof that is brought to pre-trial in order to go to trial. So it makes sense that the defense is trying to dismiss a lot of this to try to not move on to trial. Yeah, if there's procedural mistakes, then it will be rejected, right? So that's what they're trying to do right now. But if we move to trial, now that's a different conversation.
It is. Now listen, the 30-06, the weapon that is really just been put out there from the beginning. I know that's a sticking point for a lot of people. It is for me too. I mean, I'm not a big gun nut.
It was a hard shot to make in that sense.
No, 100. It's
not, right?
No, 140.
I don't think so. Yes.
The problem is that from 140 yards, the 30-06, that round should just destroy somebody's, decapitate you. I mean, I've shot I've shot Matt's 30-06 when we went out. We did, bolt action rifles and shotguns and things like that. And I don't have a 30-06 myself. I don't have a hunting rifle. I have shotguns and whatever personally. But so what little I have handled, that's one of them. And I'll tell you, at 140 yards, I'm struggling with the lack of an exit wound. So I know that a lot of people are right now talking about exploding microphone theories. And I've seen the analysis and I go, it's not nuts. It's not crazy.
So when I watched those videos, I mean, it seemed very plausible. They're very good at putting together the video, showing how the microphone is moving, the t-shirt is moving, the angle of entry of the bullet wound. But then when you look even more in depth, you see, okay, so... But it was a microphone, but it wasn't exploding. The microphone released a bullet, the little microphone. It wasn't just exploding. They said that it released a bullet that was cased underneath.
How big is that lavalier mic, though? That's a big...
It was a little box. I don't know, a plastic. The explosion would have left other kind of marks there. You know, like, it doesn't have a proper chamber. I don't know. Maybe, there's some DARPA weapon that can do it. But then we go into other level of complexities that doesn't fit, I think, this case. Most likely, in my opinion, it was a lone shooter that shot him. I think the real question is, does this person had other kind of ties? Was this person manipulated? And so on. I think that's where I would like to do research and try to understand more.
Okay.
But again.
Well, hold on. Let me just say, first of all, everybody, please like and comment, subscribe. If you're subscribed already, but you don't have your notifications on, do that so you don't ever miss what we're doing on this channel. That's another way that we can do an end around of all of the recommending nonsense that's happening. Wherever the hell you're watching it, whether it's on Rumble, if it's on YouTube, it's on Pilled, just make sure you're subscribed and you got all your notifications on. That's number one. Number two, thank you so much. Especially if you're watching this after the fact, leave a comment and a like. I'm going to leave the lines open because I know that this is a very testy subject and people out there have formed a lot more, solid opinions about things than we have. So you call in 914-200-0269 is the open line. And you just lay it on me. What the hell you think? Like, for example,
I'm curious. I want to see what people think. Yes.
I'm curious too. I saw there's a lot of things that get me. First of all, I haven't heard a claim to innocence from Tyler Robinson himself.
Right.
And I always think about that because, the first thing I think is, okay, well, this kid he's perhaps a patsy. But if he is, then there's got to be some kind of a protest to the way he's being treated and the way that he is being, accused or, in a spot that he shouldn't be in.
You have a valid point, yes.
There hasn't been anything.
Yes.
So that's interesting. So I was reading a comment on something on PBS earlier that how, as of now, all of his team, all they're doing is procedural challenges. And they're just trying to make sure that they're able to eliminate pretty much trying to manage the eligibility of death penalty, trying to keep him alive. And admissibility of evidence, and that was a big thing with security camera footage and all that other shit. But there's more. Other than that, there's been no denials, and there's been no exculpatory statements that have been made so far. I know it's still preliminary, but who the hell knows? Let's take a call. I think that we know who this guy is. Is this Mr. Brusco?
What's up, gentlemen? How are you both?
Oh, we were just talking before we went live. How we miss you.
I miss you guys both. I'm watching the show. Great stuff as always. Sorry I couldn't be there this time around, Alberto. Congratulations on the baby.
Thank you.
I want to say that on the broadcast.
Welcome to the show. What do you have to say so far? We've said so much. I know that you probably would have had several interjections already.
One, the Charlie Kirk thing. Well, the Candace Owen thing is very interesting. I heard one time I saw a clip, and again, I consume these things in very small, small moments. She said something about him saying he was a time traveler. So I don't know if some of this stuff is for clicks. I don't know if some of this stuff is for Like, because I'm like you, I'm willing to go all the way with it. Let's go to he's the time traveler. Let's go all the way with it. He's a vampire, whatever. But some of it does. You start to see really poking at holes that you're like, what are they reaching for? Yeah. And then you do have to. It kind of dilutes the more authentic, air quote, that you can't see me making, kind of conspiracies, right? The ones that kind of have a bit more validity, when all of a sudden we start poking holes at everything, because now everything becomes viable, but then yet nothing becomes viable in the same right. So that was just kind of my 1 and 2 on the Candace Owen thing. Yeah, just kind of miss being in the chair. So just wanted to kind of pop in and say hello, and look forward to being on again next time. But
I can't wait for that. What do you think about that, Alberto? What any response to what he said?
No, I agree with Vinny 100%. I would like to know more from Vinny about the bullet theory or the exploding mic theory. What do you think?
I didn't hear
two?
that one. I mean, I again, in passing, you kind of like hear it, or like, and then you kind of just brush by it. But I didn't do any deep dive. That's kind of like, to me, when you're talking about it, I was thinking about like the 1-inch Bruce Lee punch, like that, just fingers to fist. Like, the idea of that being a viable option. Again, you can't dismiss anything in that regard, but at the same time, you're like, wow, is that like, what a stretch, you know? But then again, like, all of it's a stretch, right? Like a lone gunman going crazy and executing this, and then you hear, you know, like the breakdown of the rifle, the changing of the clothes, and all the things that followed afterwards. That becomes just as much of a stretch as an exploding microphone.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, there's a lot of other things in there, and see, over the course of the Christmas break, when we started getting a lot more into that the French Foreign Legion story. Mm-hmm. And you remember that so-called, it was a French accent, but it was a blacked out face, a silhouetted face. It was the whistleblower with the voice changing. You remember the whistleblower that supposedly came forward?
Yeah.
Well, he was talking about that alleged whistleblower was talking about how that it was an exploding microphone, and that it was only one of a couple of things that were supposed to go off, and that a second one was supposed to go off or something like that, which is why they had to rush in real quick and clear him of all of the other body packs and all that other shit, and that this exploding microphone dummy device, trap kind of a device, was actually produced at a plant in Tennessee. And the Tennessee, and I had to go find this article because I remembered it. I had to go back and watch it and look at this. This is the what he was talking about. This is from October 24th, 2026. And that this blast killed 16 people at a Tennessee workplace that set off 24,000 pounds of explosives, authorities say. Apparently, according to that whistleblower in that video, that this blast was an attempt to actually clear out evidence and cover things up, where they didn't care about getting rid of 16 innocent people to make sure that all the rest of these matching devices were gone. So I think about that stuff that are now nearly a year old, claims that are nearly a year old, and new analysis videos keep coming out.
Well, who was he claiming were the people that authorized this killing? When you mentioned the French legionnaire, was the French government behind it? Was that retribution for comments that he made against Macron?
There was some kind of a French element, but of course the main thing was that there was a retreat into Israel, that there was a Mossad element to it, and that
wasn't Kirk though very pro-Israel?
He was,
but then he a little bit switched sides at the end, right?
There was a
little bit critical
toward the end. There was a couple of really out of character questions that he was at least comfortable enough asking about things like the October 7th parachute attack and all that other stuff from years ago with Hamas that started this war, this latest chapter of it. There was a couple of questions about about defense and everything else that he was a little bit more comfortable asking questions about, that turned a few heads, and that gave all of the inside baseball rumors about there being money, I think to the tune of like $150 million that was rejected, that he rejected to not have that much of an Israeli influence and stake in TPUSA, and that the rejection of the money and wanting to be a little bit more autonomous, and then also giving himself permission. These are the things that
no, it's very interesting, but
that's what created motive to people. That's what I picked up on.
Look, from my knowledge of history of some attacks of in the past. I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't see Mossad or Israel kind of like attack U.S. citizen on U.S. soil. I mean, they did some egregious attacks back in the day. In 56, there was one. In 1973, the Lilyhammer affair. Did you ever hear about that?
Yeah. And then USS Liberty.
No, Mossad misidentified. This is, you can find on Wikipedia. Misidentified a Moroccan national that was working as a waiter in Norway. And they thought that he was part of Black September, of Arafat's terrorist organization, and they killed this waiter. And later they found out that he had no ties with OLP and such. And this guy actually, it caused a little bit of an international stir because he was the brother of one of the founding members of Gypsy King. You know Gypsy Kings? The famous
the band?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Hotel California, Gypsy Kings?
Yes, he was briefly part of the Gypsy Kings. He was the brother of Chico, and he had he was a young man, and he decided to just try a shot at life at living in Norway, and the Mossad killed him. This was 1973. So they did carry out some attacks like this, but they're not usually spectacles. They're actually kind of hidden. They don't want to show the hand. So to do it on national TV in the U.S., U.S. citizen, U.S. soul, U.S. is their biggest ally. I mean, they're risking more than they're gaining. They will be really crazy. So I don't stand behind that theory from my limited knowledge of this kind of stuff. But,
I know. You're thinking practically about that. Vin, you got anything you want to throw in on that?
It just goes to show you that, listen, we're all fucked anyway. So
yeah, well,
there we go. There we go.
The rabbit hole just can keep on going deeper and deeper. It's just that eventually you just have to have a stopgap in your own relationship with these types of things, and kind of draw your own, proverbial line in the sand, and say, like, this is where I have to kind of parse away what I believe and parse away what I know, and kind of come up with my own deeper rooted, informed, to the best of your ability, decision on stuff like this. It's so hard, again, because you hear things like that, and then you're like, well, maybe any of this stuff is possible, right? Like maybe it is a microphone, or maybe it is this country or that country, and it could break your brain. It goes back to like when I had you on the podcast a while ago, Frank. I said, do you really think that there's this like nefarious thing at play? And you're like, yes. And like my brain at that time, I've mentioned this before, but my brain at that time just couldn't wrap my head. It's like trying to like intellectualize space. Like your brain just stops at a certain point. And I think it's no different than these things, because you can kind of bring yourself into a stir crazy trying to understand or, theorize or philosophize any of this stuff. And it becomes it's exhausting. And the more you feed into the algorithm and the more you consume it, it breaks you down in a lot of ways. And it can really lead to psychosis and depression and anxiety. And it's a scary thing.
You see,
guys, I love you both. I'm going to go continue watching on YouTube.
Oh, all right,
you both, but I'm going to hop off. But I miss you both, and I will catch you both very soon.
Yeah, absolutely, you will. Well, at least we had him on for 10 minutes. Thank you so much, Vinny Brusco.
Later, guys.
There you go. Find Vinny Brusco on Instagram. So, what are you saying there too? This is what I'll put out there. There is the cabal. There are conspiracies. How the world is run. I mean, conspiracies happen on a playground among children. We're just talking about politics here. That's just you have, and the more power you have, and the more ability you have to collaborate with people who have some sort of an end that they all seem to be favorable, that would have in-group preference and all that other shit. That's just ridiculous. Of course that happens. Of course that's the way it goes. But what we're talking about here too is that there is another element of mankind that is not really, we were not built for this kind of exposure and this kind of work that we do to ourselves on social media, and that we can bury ourselves in deep and be so sure of what we're doing and why we're doing and why we reach certain conclusions. And it could be based on principles of just contrarianism that we were talking about that may not work out to what you think. Like you were talking about there, that, well, would the reward really be bigger than the risk for a state actor like Israel to take out Charlie Kirk just because he has a little bit of, he's starting to become a little bit more politically autonomous, or at least rumored to become a little bit more geopolitically autonomous and not willing to defend Israel and everything they do, no matter what the cost. We can debate that sometime. But the other thing there is, that there's a lot of people that would generally just want him dead no matter what. Right. There's a lot of domestic forces that would probably like to see him go away because, I think so. He was going to be a political, especially if he really was head on America first, truly America first, no wars, domestic first, and all that other stuff. He was going to be a kingmaker for another 50 years.
I think he would have been the king. I think he was able to raise in his short media career over $100 million. So I think he would have possibly have been on the ballot, become president in the near future, the next 10 years or so. Yeah. So I think part of the key of understanding the assassination is the fact that the assassination was done in a public space with a lot of audience. This was not a quiet assassination. This was not something that somebody wanted just to remove a pawn from the chessboard silently and quickly, and that's it. This was done as a spectacle, just like the assassination attempt on Donald Trump. The first one in PA. I think this is somebody that wants to send a message to stop a certain kind of political opinion from rising by scaring other people from coming up and taking his spot. And then maybe, it's done indirectly through somebody that had nothing to lose, a young man that got influenced by certain kind of propaganda. But if he did it, he was pushed to do it, and to do it that way. I mean, if somebody wanted to do it quietly, they could have approached Kirk any other time, right? They know where he lives. They know he's going to be coming to a rally. They would approach him coming out of the car, shot him there, and that's it. But they did it when everybody was watching, when the cameras were rolling. So I think there was also a message they were trying to send.
See, there's so many odd things, and there's so much odd behavior that's caught on tape, and I'm always open-minded to it, because there could be multiple operations being run in one time, and of course the real thing, you would need something that is palatable for everybody to sink their teeth into, and for no other reason than just to be a shield to something that's happening at a deeper level. And I'll tell you one thing, and here's what I really hope we get some calls on this one. But the one thing that is clear to me is that we have been psyoped to hell and back, and everyone has been sorted into unshakable true crime tribes for nearly a year now. And I see several layers here, and perhaps people at home can add new layers to me, layers to this thought I'm having, or tweak them in some way. But so like, for example, we have the populist level. So on the populist right, there is Tyler Robinson. He is a left-wing freak with a transvestite boyfriend and a shining example of how political identity issues, especially when it comes to personal identity issues that have become political, are more and more of an excuse to commit violence for if you're a progressive, especially.
Right.
Okay, that's just on the populist level, and like I said, there's no denials, there's nothing else. So people are like, he's a patsy. It's like, okay, well, let's see if he pleads guilty or not guilty, or what kind of context, what was his involvement, and what would be a reward for him to go along with this if there are no denials. You know, that's just what I'm looking at here. What would be his reward for offering his life up, if not to be added to the pantheon of left-wing jihadists who have given their life for a higher cause, you know? And then you have the top layer, the populist layer for the left, which is, I got to say, the official story is more than adequate for many people on the left. They love that Charlie Kirk is dead, and Tyler Robinson, for many of them, is just a hero.
Yeah, I don't think there's no reward. I don't think he was trying to get a reward, the financial or this kind of stuff, or even in publicity. I think when sometimes the left starts calling all people Nazis or Hitler or so on, people feel righteous by stepping up and committing a murder, you know? I stopped Hitler, you know? I think sometimes it's they feel righteous by doing it. I don't think that they feel that there's any other reward they just think that they're doing the right thing because, again, the propaganda machine tells them that that's the right thing to do.
Yeah. It's a spiritual reward.
Yeah.
So for people who don't have God or heaven,
right.
This is how you get to the next level. And they look at this. That's what I see on a populist level there. Now, though, there are also those on the left who are not comfortable being so outward with their bloodlust, and they have taken a stance. I've seen this, that Tyler Robinson is being overcharged in order to crack down on left-wing dissent, which I don't know how you could overcharge someone if they murdered another person as an act of dissent.
Yes.
I mean, the political nature of the murder makes it terrorism. That's no matter who was behind it, it's terrorism.
It is, yes.
This was an act of terrorism. Okay?
Yes.
So that's what we're seeing over there. Now, one level deeper than that is what I think is really interesting, Alberto, because I see that one level below the official story positions, there's actually an unusual level of bipartisanship.
Okay.
Because asking whether security failures were intentional, to what degree was Robinson used as a patsy, which intelligence agencies were involved. Most people point to Mossad when they get down to this level. Most people say that there is motive for Mossad because there was a so-called distancing between Charlie Kirk and mainstream Israeli causes in the last weeks of his life, or that's just what's being put out there.
Yeah.
And everyone is obsessed with accusing. This is another thing. Everybody's political enemies, everybody left and right, are accusing the other people of being Mossad-backed pedophiles. Everybody's accusing each other of being Mossad-backed pedophiles. It would be funny under any other circumstance. It really would. Now, that whole idea that Kirk was too dangerous to be left alive, especially if he was having some sort of a true America First awakening, I don't know. I can see that. I can see, like you were saying before, not only would he be a kingmaker for 50 years, he might have become the king. But there's just so much auto-cannibalizing going on right now. It's pretty nuts.
I mean, when I saw the murder, my first instinct was to kind of like paint it a little bit on the left. You always play that game of cui bono in Latin, who benefits. And if you go see, part of the strength of the left in this country comes from universities. It's not the boomer generation, it's not the older folks. It really starts by the effort that they put and the money that they pour into American universities to try to shape the mind of young voters that then vote a certain way for the rest of their life. That's really kind of like their moneymaker. And I think Kirk came and disrupted that funnel of voters. So he had to be removed. And possibly first they tried to remove him by character assassination or other things of that sort. But when he became undeniable and this grassroots movement was really chipping at the base of the left-wing movement of voters, the propaganda started increasing, the heat started increasing, and they were possibly hoping that somebody will take action. But you see, I think really that's where a lot of the power of the base of the left-wing party in the U.S. comes from the colleges, from the universities.
Yeah,
he was chipping away at it very efficiently.
It certainly was, and there is that, and you can see, like you were talking about it before, the spectacle. I called it a blood sacrifice. It was an open blood sacrifice. The feeding,
seems so right.
Oh yeah, you put chum in the water, and all the piranha come to the top, and they are just I mean, that was what we saw coming out of people, and it was not just squeaky wheel activist types. It was just everyday people who were just rationalizing a young father being killed because of free speech. That was Alberto. That is maybe there was some upper echelon political advantage to be gained by eliminating him, but what you saw coming out of commoners was nothing short of demonic.
I think you're right. I would love to say that you're wrong, but I think you're right, because even in my own experience, beyond social media and such, even friends that I have, even family members, when I said, hey, did you see what happened? Man, that's crazy. They're like, well, but he was saying racist things. Yeah, but. I'm like, but did you really see some of his speeches? Because he also had some interesting speeches. Sometimes he wasn't always abrasive. He also had some positive comments. Sometimes he was actually kind of like bridging, between left and right on some certain arguments. Yeah, but they ignore all that, and they were like, yeah, he had it coming. Yeah, he had it coming. I mean, it's not good.
That's the biggest thing I took away.
Normal people, educated people that I know.
Well, that's the
thing. That's
what
their comment. Instead of saying, "Oh my God, that's terrible," nobody should be silenced for their his opinion.
But the reason why that was so abrasive for people to hear, you had that conversation with your friends and some family or whoever you talked to. A lot of people in this audience had those exchanges with old friends of theirs or current friends of theirs or former friends now, whatever the hell it was, because it's one thing to say, wow, that's really how you feel about it? That, maybe that's sad that he died, but are you really shocked? Think about all the things he was saying. All the things he said something unsavory in your opinion, and therefore it's rational that he ended up dead. So that's bad in and of itself. But then you just say, apply that to me now. I say things that are far worse than Charlie Kirk ever said. So that means that there's a large amount of people in my life who would say, oh, I loved Frank, but you know what? He had a mouth on him. Yeah, that's the bigger wake up call for me.
The thing that scares me is also how many people can't see any good in other people. So I understand that maybe some comments Charlie Kirk made ruffled some feathers, and some people don't like him for certain things. But in all his speeches, all the things he said, can't anyone find also something good? Because I'm sure he had. You said maybe I don't like what he said about the trans agenda, but when he had some economic points, maybe I find those very valid. But instead, I talk to these people. They're like, they can never find any good in anyone. They just have a cursory look or at what somebody says, and they already put people in the bad pile. Instead, people are very complex, right? Most of the time, we're a combination of, we have good opinions, we have bad opinions. Somebody could be a good person, but sometimes maybe doesn't express himself well, or maybe you don't agree with something. You and I are good friends. Maybe on some things that you say, I'm like, I don't know if I agree with that. But that doesn't mean that that's the whole Frank. You know what I'm trying to say?
Right. Yeah,
but instead, they were okay with him being murdered just because they didn't agree with one thing that he said. And maybe other things that he said were great things, maybe on how he had maybe a economic outlook for the U.S.
Well,
But they just want to. That's it. Yeah, you said that thing. Let's kill him. Done. I'm done with you.
and
And he
Alberto,
was a father. He had kids. He was a great man. He had great friends. People spoke highly of him. I heard him say great things too. Loving things too.
I'll be honest.
Yeah.
To 90% of everything I've heard come out. I mean, he's been around. He was around, working at a very high level for, I don't know, at least 10 years
10
or
years,
so.
yes, close to a decade,
And
yes.
I think over that time, I knew he was out there. I've seen him pop up at some big, convention here, a convention there. You see somebody rise and all that stuff, and of them. But I never really followed him. I always seemed like a little bit too much of a milk toast Republican guy.
I see.
Smart. He did things, crowd work that I just don't have the capacity to do. So I just give people credit where credit's due. But I was never like a big fan. But when something like this, when somebody's thrust into the limelight in a horrific way like this, it gives everybody a little bit of a time to just assess the situation a little bit more. Whether or not you ever donated to TPUSA or been to a rally in the past or anything like that, it does give you some time to assess bigger stories and bigger themes that surround a person than whether or not they were your favorite guy or always hit the ball out of the park. So that's just the crazy thing there.
Yeah.
And fuck, man. I mean, I even the most loathsome left-wing character out there, I would love to see them exiled. I would love to see them just listen. You can't be here anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be here anymore. Like the Destiny, Hassan Piker, the Sneeko, those types of guys. Sure. You've got to leave now. But I don't want to. I'm not pulling. If it goes violent or something like that, then okay, you got to put a rabid dog down. But any self-respecting nation should. I think that we should definitely think about how to exile people. No doubt. We're not there yet. Let's take a call. 817. You're on the air. Go ahead.
All right. Sorry about that. Yeah, and this is a different 817. It's not Cloud9. Salute to Cloud9. He's a great contributor. Man,
is he your next door neighbor?
Oh no, well maybe at one point. I don't know.
Okay,
but I'm down on the South Coast this time.
Well, it's good to hear from you. What's on your mind?
Oh man, I was actually just going to call in. Is this a show or are we screening?
This is the show. This is Frank.
Oh yeah, okay. Funny thing is, man, I don't know. It sounds different this time. I've called in before.
Well,
anyway, yeah, man. So small, avid, amateur hunter over here. I shoot with a 270. I know 30-06 is very similar.
Mm-hmm.
As far as an exploding a watermelon or anything crazy like that, normally in the South down here, way south, Texas, Louisiana, a white-tailed deer is, 100, 120, 150 pounds max. It does not exit all the time, doesn't leave a big wound. If anything, I thought that the splatter that came out was a little bit much. I was like, if anything, that tells me, okay, well, something's wrong but bullets do crazy things. That was my only opinion on the matter. This is Walsey V from the chat room in Rumble.
It's great to have you on, Walsey. See, I've heard that too. People were talking about different types of bullets. And how there could be kind of fragmenting effects and things like that, but I don't know. I just think about, it's one thing where if from a certain distance you've got a 200-pound person or something close to it and you hit center mass and nothing comes out the other end, that's one thing. But we're talking about the base of the neck, the fleshy part of the neck, like right there. You think, I don't know, man. It just seems like that would be a really hard place to catch a bullet and not have it go anywhere with just a little bit of muscle and skin.
That is true. If it entered the neck and didn't get anywhere, where there's bones, I mean, everything down here hunting is 100 yards and in. Like, we're not out west or anything crazy. There's nothing but trees everywhere. So, most of the deer that I kill when I hunt is 100 yards, 75. I mean, heck, I could even have a bow if I wanted to. It just doesn't, it doesn't have a big wound. It doesn't have a big, there's not a lot of crazy scar stuff unless you gut them and you hit them in the gut, and then who knows what's going on then. But yeah, I don't know. It's weird. I don't know where the bullet actually came in. I haven't looked at any of that evidence. It's a shame the guy's gone. I think he was doing a good thing, whether or not he's with Tupac on an island or whatever he's doing, or
some believe that too. Some believe that too.
On an island, that would be nice.
I know. Some believe that too.
Yeah, man. I mean, as far as I know, he's never been at the Walmart, and I've never shaken his hand. So here we are.
Well, thank you for that, and I hope that we get a couple more people who have a little bit more, hunting experience, military experience, because I don't know. It seems to be something where a couple of field tests on YouTube really made people not very big believers that that part of the official story, which that's the other thing that's very odd. It's just like, you know what? If you have the ability to craft an official story, why not use a more believable? I mean, the caliber of bullet or something. What do you?
I have limited experience, but I've shot some guns before, and I had friends that are obviously through my jiu-jitsu. I have a lot of friends who are ex-military SEALs, Marines, and they told me stories about how bullets behave, and it's very unpredictable. We're always assuming like perfect case scenario where the gun is set up properly, the bullet is a good bullet. There could be a lot of scenarios where the gun is not set up properly. Maybe it's an old bullet, it's slightly defective. There could be a lot of different conditions. It was strange. For example, I have a story with my friend Matt, as a former Marine. He was telling me never stay attached to walls when you clearing rooms. And I was like, why? What's that? It's like, I saw bullets, he said, crawl, turn 90 degrees. If somebody shoots, you think the bullet will stop in the wall. And he said the bullet will kind of because the bullet is rotating, right? As it's going through space. So it will sort of latch on the wall and crawl on the wall and make 90-degree turns. So I could shoot a bullet here and hit the wall and rotate and hit you. He said that he saw bullets behaving that way when he was in Iraq. So you never know. We're always assuming, and the people online that do these recreations, they assume perfect scenarios, and that's most likely not the case. Again, if we have to trust, let's hope that the FBI, whoever did the ballistics and found the bullet, is doing a proper investigation, because we're what do they call them? From home is hard to,
I know, armchair
quarterback,
armchair quarterbacking.
Yeah,
all that. Andy, thank you so much for the call, man. Thank you. I hope this gets a few more people to call in too. Thank you.
Hey, man, it's good. Enjoy the show. Good job, guys. Thank you.
Take care. Be well. Let's take another call. 706. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, certainly not a ballistics expert, but here's something, and the theory might be out there. Someone might be already, reached this subject or more deep. But bullets are supersonic. I think most of them. We have subsonic bullets. 30-06 ain't one of them. It is supersonic. Kirk was mic'd up, obviously. There's the debate about, the mic. Did the mic, explosives, shape chart explosives can do devastating damage. A plausible theory, but he was mic'd up. The bullet coming in would make a distinct whip crack. The mic would have picked it up. It would go crack, and then you would hear the report of said rifle. Am I making sense at all?
Yes.
Yeah. They're really supersonic. You're talking about a projectile that's moving right at 3,000 feet per second. Anyone that's had a round come past their head, they hear a distinct crack. It's like a dry branch really loud crack. And the first time you hear it, you might not really recognize it. But hey, asshole, somebody's shooting at you. And you recognize that the next time it happens. But I guess what I'm getting at, and maybe someone has already looked into this, but the microphones around him and certainly the microphone on him would have picked up that supersonic crack, I think.
Well, I was wondering about that. And like I said, I have not been really consuming a lot of the data that people have been pulling together over the last 10 months or so. I have not been pulling on it a lot, but I will say that I did learn over the course of what little I was peeking in on these analysis videos that would come out from time to time. Well, what's the range guy? I forgot there's a couple of them that were really interesting until we started talking about the actual microphones. But the first question I had was, if he's got a microphone in his hand for the event, why does he have a lav mic on his shirt? And then I got the answer pretty quickly, was that it's because of a live stream he was doing. So it was
different feeds.
It was different feeds, a social media mic and all that. And I wondered, and perhaps this is common knowledge, but I don't know. I wondered if anybody ever was able to go back and listen to the social media feed as everything went down and then things were obviously cut off. I mean, if that was a mic, like, what did the mic pick up? Especially if it was the mic that exploded. I mean, what did that sound like? Does anybody in the audience ever see the actual social media feed and not just the crowd perspective feeds that we saw all over the place? That's what I would wonder.
That's interesting. I haven't heard that. I have heard, why was he carrying a handheld mic? And you just gave me the answer for that, because I just put it to the side. You hear things, and we don't want to obsess about anything, but it's a very, very fishy situation, even on the thumbnail surface of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I hadn't heard the he was live streaming, and that's a logical reason for a separate mic.
Well, we'll see if anybody else has ever heard anything from that, and that would be interesting. Thank you so much for the contribution, my friend.
Hey, what do I know? This is Tracer. What do I know? I took Motrin about an hour ago, so I'm on drugs. You can't listen to me.
Motrin, yes.
There you go. Well, Tracer, it's good to hear from you, man.
Cheers, y'all.
Cheers.
Frank, you know what's cool about this thing about the microphone? I just thought about it. I'm sure there's software out there that the FBI uses and so on. They could actually buy all the microphones that were there that day, the ones that Kirk had on him, but also I'm sure there were some independent journalists that were filming people in the audience. With all this footage and all, they could probably triangulate exactly where the bullet came from just by the sound. It's not far-fetched. I'm sure there's software out there that if once you upload all these videos, all the audio, cool, knowing where people were. A lot of phones have GPS, so you know exactly where the microphone was. You could pinpoint the direction the shot came from. Well, I'm pretty sure there's a software.
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case either. But even just from a little bit more of a primitive standpoint, I mean, just body motion. I mean, that's the reason why. The reason why the official story of President Kennedy's assassination was so ridiculous. Like, we saw where the kill shot came from, right? Because we saw how his head
came from a different angle.
Yeah,
I agree. Yes,
we could see his head getting flown back, and it's not. So that's one thing. That's another thing there too. A lot of calls coming in now. I like this. Let me just real quick. Let me just check and see the super chats. Ryan Mack has subscribed. Oh, well, welcome. Ryan Mack has just subscribed to the YouTube channel. It's good to have you. If you're not subscribed, everybody, just press the subscribe button. That'd be wonderful. Jay Britt says, great discussion tonight, Frank. Always enjoy Alberto's visits. Congratulations to your new arrival.
Thank you so much.
Jay Britt is the only one over there that's thrown in so far. Just to let you guys know that we are giving away the raffle this week is going to be a little bit of copper. It's the 250th anniversary copper. We have a few more of these that we're going to be giving away. Some pieces of silver, some pieces of constitutional silver. The last of my 1953 edition $2 bill, the red stamp, and then this Laurel and Hardy official. It's not mint condition, but I got it at an antique shop. I thought somebody would like it. Laurel and Hardy card game. I'm also going to be putting some Yes Cacao yescacao.com, botanical chocolate, wild balls in there. It's an incredible health food snack. So super chats on YouTube, Rumble, pilled.net, quite frankly, superchat.com, which is processed by Streamlabs. So it's actually the best thing you can do, quite frankly, superchat.com. But it doesn't matter. Anything's better than nothing. Thank you for the support. Let's take a call. 937, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hi, Frank. How are you?
I'm doing well. Who are we speaking with?
This is Eric.
Welcome to the show, Eric. You're on with Alberto and I.
How are you, gentlemen?
Doing well, thank you.
All right. So listen, on the day Charlie Kirk got killed, I, like so many other people, I started scouring the internet, see if I could find some video of what was going on. And I came across a video, and these people had been filming on the way to the event. And strangely enough, they had a handheld camera. They were pointing the camera up at rooftops on the buildings around them. Now, this is before he had gotten killed, which I found really strange. Have you seen anything like this?
No, I haven't. So,
I'm thinking I may have downloaded it and stored it away. If I do, I will send it to you. But I found it really creepy that they would be doing that. Did they know that there was an assassination going to take place? Did they hear rumors or something like that?
Yeah, well, so this was after the fact, or you just happened to be watching some random live streams of people going there and just scouting the place out?
This was, it was people who had been recording, going to go see Charlie Kirk, and they were on the way to the event, but it was prior to him getting shot.
Well, you never know. I mean, I never seen anything like that before. And if you had the wherewithal to download it because you thought it was unique or strange or became a little bit more important after the fact, then hey, get in. You can email me any kind of link that you might be able to dig up. Frank at quitefrankly.tv. I'd take a look at it at least.
All right, I will do so.
Well, thank you for calling, Eric.
Thank you.
All right, take care. Let's take another call. 413. You're on with Alberto and Frank.
Hey, Frank. Grady from Mass.
Grady, welcome to meet you. I mean, welcome to the show. It's good to see.
Gotcha.
We already met before.
We met. Alberto, congratulations on a new child.
Thank you.
Early on after Charlie Kirk's assassination, I don't remember details. I'd have to go back and watch it again. There was a lot of speculation that he actually wasn't shot, that he was dropped under a table, the body was fake, CGI things that glitched in like letters on the shirt moving, whole angle of his the way he moved when he was shot, all of that. There's a lot of speculation it was faked, and it was a pretty convincing argument. So I'm just throwing that out there.
Well, as we said before, is he on an island with Tupac or not? I know some people believe he's still alive. I've seen all types of camps form about who's responsible, the complicity, to what degree Erica, his wife, whether she is a more of a sinister character that we will learn about as time goes on. If it does turn out to be that way, she's more and more of a sinister character. She's done nothing to really help herself in her image. To be honest, there's been just very strange things.
Something really weird about her, definitely.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that she didn't. I think she's made a lot of trouble for herself than she really had to. But other than that, as far as complicity, and there's a lot of people out there who think that she helped set him up and that she was a plant from the beginning. There's every flavor to this one.
There's also been speculation she's been replaced. So maybe a real Erica Kirk was a good person and on the island with Charlie.
She's been replaced. Let's see. Everybody's been replaced already. I don't. It's just. I don't know. Well, Grady, thank you for throwing that out there.
You're welcome. Take care.
It's a fun theory. I don't know how you and I can.
I don't think. I think it's actually horrific.
Oh, okay. Yes. I just the fun theory is like thinking that he's alive just for his kids, but yeah, I have no idea how we can ever prove it. You and I from Westchester, New York. But yeah.
Well, I would love to hear anybody in the chat room, especially people who who feel like they figured most of it out or they have a good beat on what's going on. Let me know what you think, or what are the leading theories as to why someone like Tyler Robinson would, at least at this point, be willing to take the fall and be the guy. Be the guy. He's been very stoic. He's looked kind of, absent of remorse. There's been no loud pronouncements of innocence or being framed or anything like that. So if he's a patsy, are we talking MK Ultra? Does he believe that he did it and was righteous and is being righteous about it? I mean, why not plead guilty and then just take your spot in the pantheon of left-wing, like I said, left-wing jihadists? You're already being praised as a hero by countless people, and many people who believe that without, putting it out on Twitter. I mean, the internet is awash in people who are confident, both in on the street interviews and on their social medias, that are confident in their, praise of people like Tyler Robinson or anybody who's willing to stand up to fascism. I mean, they're nuts. So I just wonder what his deal is for people who doubt all the veracity of everything else.
I think it's hard for us to expect from him irrational behavior. Like if you're somebody that makes the decision that they want to commit murder, you're already somebody that's unstable. So when I look at him, I'm not really looking for cues sometimes, because whatever way he behaves, I know he's somebody that's irrational. He made a very bad, irrational decision to begin with. So even like his emotions now, you see him very, like you said, very stoic. He's not a rational person. So I don't know if he metabolizes grief the same way we do. It's possible also a lot of these characters, as in other cases, have been proven to take some medication, for depression and such, that kind of like changes your emotional state. So I wouldn't expect him to show remorse like a regular person would, if he committed the crime.
Right. That's what I'm saying. This behavior,
it's hard to judge.
It leans me toward him being some kind of a complicit part of it all, whether he knows that he was tied into a bigger, whether he was compartmentalized and enabled and encouraged to go through this, or was he part of something bigger? I don't know.
Yeah.
But it doesn't look like somebody who's trying to distance himself from this and try to call some sanctifying attention. Anyway, the caller just dismissed. I had him on. I was going to bring him on for a second. 216, go ahead.
Hey, Frank.
Hello.
Just wanted to weigh in and give you my take on the whole Charlie Kirk thing, and actually the whole reality of the situation we find ourselves in right now, which I think it's all fake. I think the whole effing thing is fake, Frank. Trump's assassination attempt, Charlie Kirk, all of it. It's all scripted. Erica Kirk was in the Trump beauty pageants. Turning Point USA was suggested by who for his organization, right? It's all fake. And like the one guy called up about, the sound of the bullet. They've done that analysis, and it's come back that it doesn't match. A 30-06 would leave more than a little hole in his neck. I mean, it's nonsense, man. It's just all nonsense. It's all bullshit. For what purpose? It's hard to say, but there's no way. There's too many things. The guy didn't have any residue on his hands.
Well,
he can't break down the rifle that he supposedly had.
But here's the thing. I know, and I listen. All that people are out there picking apart all, because the CCTV footage has been watched the last, especially today. That was a big part of it, and a lot of people are watching who is supposedly Tyler Robinson walking through these parking garages and
Stairways, the stairwells. Yep.
Apparently, he actually met with a TP USA person along the way. I don't know, but I mean that's the stuff that came out a little bit there too. But again, it's one thing to say. It's one thing to say. I think it's all bullshit, but you got to be able to, at least for your own sanity's sake, be able to go check by check, piece by piece, and say, have a little bit of a little bit of a theory for everything. So what would be?
But you see what they do. The whole thing is they just keep on layering. They have us profiled to the point that they can pull our strings emotionally, psychologically, and they know that people love to get into these little facets, these little side.
I get you,
side pathways, and they just keep on layering it on.
But ultimately, let me ask you the question. Let me ask you this question though: Is in your estimation, is Charlie Kirk dead?
No, hell no, he's not dead. He's in Valhalla. They straight told you, I'm going to see you in Valhalla. Why does the Pajit talk like he's some German Nazi that he's talking about Valhalla? I mean, come on, he's a Pajit. He's in charge of the FBI, and he's like, I'll see you in Valhalla, Charlie. He's alive.
There's a Valhalla White Plains
right here. Yeah,
is he in White Plains? Okay, so then let me ask you, because this is interesting, because like I'm saying, goes right in hand with the entire theme of the night. There are people who are in the middle of certain things. There are some things they don't get, and there are other people like our friend right now who just says, listen, every aspect of this is FUBAR. Mm-hmm. So Tyler Robinson, what would you say his role is, either witting or unwitting? What would you theorize?
I would say he's the fall guy, the patsy, who is the tranny furry, who
So does he believe he did it?
Just like the kid that was shot trying to get to Trump. His house doesn't have any silverware in it. There's no.
But does he believe he did it?
Does he believe he did? No, he doesn't believe he did it.
Okay.
I mean, maybe they implanted the memory through MK Ultra. That's possible. But I don't believe he was on the roof. Like, even through all that footage, Frank, nobody sees him on the roof firing. With all those people around, nobody has a picture of him on the roof firing. You can't break down the rifle the way they said. You can't just explain away this little tiny hole in Charlie Kirk's neck from a 30-06. You can't, like, all these things. You can't just be like, well, maybe, I shoot a rifle that's a 223, and sometimes when it hits the deer, it doesn't bleed as much. Okay, look, if you're hitting any living creature with a 30-06, there is going to be blood. Where is the blood? Where's the blood when they're dragging him to the car? Where's the blood in the car? Why was there no crime scene tape at the site of the assassination? What? I mean, there's so many things. It's just
those last questions I think are among the more practical questions people have asked, that are just wondering to what degree has this thing been orchestrated, and then of course after that the question is to what end and to whose benefit, no doubt. But I'm glad you called in to put your ideas out there, because that is
my pleasure, Frank. This is Ghetto Boy, by the way.
Oh, hell yeah!
I appreciate your show.
Okay, Ghetto
Boy. Mario,
Boy.
Congratulations on the new child. Best of luck.
There you go. I got to remember. See, this is the thing that about all of the calls we've taken on Zoom. When Ghetto Boy calls in now, I would be able to, on Skype, save him right now as Ghetto Boy. And that was Skype back in the Skype years. I can't do that. Zoom is so stupid in that respect. And I would love to just start saving people as their screen name so I can call them out a little bit better. All right, now we got a whole bunch of people calling in, probably calling in about Ghetto Boy. Let me see. 573, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, Frank. I was watching quite a few of the law channels that are on YouTube as well, and they do almost nightly coverage of the things up to this point. It's interesting. If you notice, Candace Owens takes a timely break when these things get to peak moments and stuff. But one of the things that caught my attention in the recent ones, court filings today, was that they mentioned that the guy that actually went with the Tyler Robinson to turn himself in, he knew him prior, and I think that was out there already. But I think they said that he was maybe what is it, the Eagle Scouts? So he may have known him and his character for a long time. And one of Baron Coleman, one of his theories is that man may have saved his life by getting him turning himself in. Just something to think about. So.
Well, that is something to think about. And first of all, we have another one in here from Lon Demon in the YouTube. We just dropped a very gracious super chat in to support the show. They said, why did they pave over the site so fast? Wasn't it a crime scene? Again, these are some of the practical questions that even the ones that have answers, I'm just like, I don't know. That doesn't pass the sniff test for me.
Yeah.
I'm not on the. I'm not throwing it all out at this point, but I'm not taking it hook, line, and sinker. So I don't know if you guys remember this here too. With it was like what they did was they took up all of the concrete. They laid down new concrete. They did the entire amphitheater over like within a week or so. And I was thinking, I said, I know it's a lesser situation and it has a lot less gravity in its destruction, but the Georgia Guidestones, you remember when those were blown up back in 2022 or something like that?
Yes.
Okay.
The difference there, Frank, is that there's an interview with the man who did the paving over, and that's really interesting. He'll tell you from beginning to end how that happened.
Well, how did it happen?
That's just maybe a difference. But
do you have any of it committed to memory?
There's I think one of the phrases out there is paver emergency is the way he was described. He's the company owner, and he was given a call over the weekend and said, like, we need you to do this paver emergency, and he had to call his backup guys and to come in and do this thing. And I believe in the interview he actually said he was told to don't really discuss this. Really weird stuff. I think it was brought up today in the court. And then the lead investigator said, I don't know anything about how that was paved over. Well, you didn't do a very good investigation then.
Shit. Yeah.
If that's was brought up in court, that's serious. I would think that that's an active crime scene, at least for a couple months, right? As ballistics has to take measurements and might be looking for samples and not just... they wouldn't be able to pave it over within a week. You would think it would either. Hold on, let me see here. I gotta figure that. Well, thank you so much for the call. Is there anything else you want to leave us with?
The only conclusion on the theory there earlier was that maybe we won't see, or maybe the plan is to not end up with Tyler Robinson at the end of the trial. Maybe the plan was to not get him. The patsies don't always make it to the end. Maybe we haven't seen the end of the theater show. So. Yeah.
Okay. So you think there still might be a Jack Ruby moment?
Or yes, in 2026, they could do a lot of stuff. Yeah, exactly.
It took following the tragic assassination of Charlie Kirk during outdoor September 10th. They immediately canceled classes and completely closed the campus. While the campus remained locked down, construction crews worked quickly to remove the affected grass area and reconstruct the courtyard. Instead of repaving with traditional asphalt, workers installed stone pavers to completely cover the ground where the shooting took place. It took 5 days for crews to finish replacing the impacted campus grounds. Now, I understand if you are a place of higher learning, that this has to be a place where all of your students are hanging out, having lunch, studying, just being out and socializing and all that stuff. It is a very grisly and ghoulish kind of a thing to even grapple with with what happened there now. So I understand wanting to be able to give it a fresh look, move on as quickly as possible, so your students who just started their school year in August could complete the rest of their year with some semi-normalcy. I understand that.
I think that was the excuse that the owner of the paving company. He's not even a paver company. He does landscaping, and this was kind of a specialty deal. But I think that was what he was told was, hey, we don't want this to become a bigger thing than it already has. I mean, people are already going to come and see it. That interview, I wish I remembered the channel. It's like the only time I've viewed that channel on YouTube. I couldn't believe that I was listening to the owner of the company disclose the timeline of how he was told to come and do it, but it is out there. So have a good night, Frank. Love you guys, and talk to you later.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, so this all happened on a Wednesday, September 10th, and then the campus remains strictly closed while See, this is the thing. I understand that mindset of, hey, we've got students here. We got to make this normal for them. This is already bad.
Business, right? Yeah.
But you know what? There's a murder there of tremendous political weight on September 10th.
Right.
And from September 11th to 14th, you're furiously repaving everything. Like, what happened to the crime scene?
Yeah.
Like, not even 4 days?
It doesn't make sense. So I would like to read more about it and see if it was this was something that was planned ahead, sort of like they had something scheduled before, and then the assassination happens. But it was planned months ahead to just redo the whole campus. You understand?
Yeah.
From your experience, my experience, I never heard of a work authorization on campus being authorized so quick, right? There's funds that need to be allocated. There's probably some kind of like architectural engineering plans that need to be put in place, right, when sidewalks and other things need to be done on campus. So it seems very strange that this was just like a spur of the moment authorization. I will have to look more into it. I will say that if they did it, it was probably authorized months in advance. They didn't know about. They probably had like a series of rallies. They said, "Guys, we're gonna have this many rallies this summer. At some point, we're gonna have to repave everything because it's going to be wear out," and they already had it scheduled, and then the assassination happened, and they just went ahead on it, not caring about preserving the crime scene. Possibly that seems a little bit more rational, but I will have to read into it. If it was authorized right after, it seems extremely suspicious.
It is. And, I just got an email right now. I got an email right now from Mike in Pittsburgh, and it's about Thomas Crooks, speaking of Pennsylvania.
Yes. The Butler, assassination tip.
He said, "Hi, Frank. I just watched the Discovery Channel program on demand called Conspiracies and Cover-Ups, Mind Control Assassins. At Season 1, Episode 1, host of the program is an ex-CIA agent, if there ever is such a person. It suggests that Crooks could have been mind-controlled like a la MK Ultra. It goes on about testing this theory using hypnosis. Very interesting. Many years ago in the University of Pittsburgh campus, I saw a live show by a mentalist called The Amazing Kreskin. I sat very close to the stage that night. He used some of the same techniques that the Discovery Channel show did. Kreskin called his technique suggestion rather than hypnosis. He worked very quickly. Kreskin definitely was amazing. 2 of my friends volunteered to go up on stage as test subjects that night. I was skeptical even of my friends' reactions on stage. However, there was a number of other test subjects doing things that appeared to be impossible unless under hypnosis. Kreskin appeared on The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson 88 times. Later in life, he hosted a conservative podcast. He passed away in 2024. I thought you might find this interesting. Mike in Pittsburgh. Yeah. I mean, all around us, Alberto, I think that we really, really hammered the main topic tonight. What do people believe? How little does everybody believe?
Everybody believes. We believe everything, and we believe nothing.
I don't know. Oh man, I was watching this guy. Every once in a while, he's somebody sends me a video from this guy called The Report of the Week, and he's an odd duck, but I can see why he's endearing to people. He has a very old timey kind of he likes radio, and he has a shortwave radio show, and he talks a lot about like this, and he slicks his hair back with, I guess, burl cream or something like that, and he's got his suit and his tie on. He doesn't cut his fingernails, though, which is very odd. He's very pale, like a vampire almost.
Maybe he is a vampire.
Could be. And he does this show called The Report of the Week. And from what I learn about him, he really, really likes fast food. And he does a lot of fast food reviews. But he put out a video like last week or something. And he asked the question, is there anything that isn't getting worse? And I think he was mostly talking about the fast food, because he was talking about all the new Happy Meals coming out and what Burger King is doing and all that stuff, which it's just so, I don't know, it's strange. But he's right there in the middle of pop culture. And I was paying more of attention to the people in the comments because they took it far beyond fast food. And I got some comments for you over here. Wes 1262 says, not only everything is getting worse, but everything feels like a scam. Somebody else said over here, the bread is stale and the circus is boring. Another person says, my fatigue has fatigue. Another person says, everything is getting worse while simultaneously getting more expensive. Another one, since the pandemic, everything has gone downhill. Healthcare has especially gone downhill. And, I was thinking about that. I was thinking about all this stuff, and the cheapness of things. And of course, we're just talking about physical items out there in this fake ass economy and all that shit, where everything is manipulated. The rents are high, energy is high. We should be living with cheap ass gas, cheap ass electricity, everything cheap. We are just being completely screwed with right now. But of course, we can't forget to put information in all that stuff, everything feeling like a scam, everything feeling like, everything is an influencer or something like that trying to sell something. And it's, I don't know. It's, I think it all ties together. You have any parting shots on this stuff?
I mean, I think about this stuff a lot, like we brought it up tonight about things getting worse, but I don't know. Yeah, I wish I had, I guess I'm not like a guru. I'm not like a leader because I don't have one position. I'm kind of like somewhere in the middle sometimes. I have a feeling if YouTube was around in 1950, and you read the comments, you'll probably see negative comments there too.
Yeah.
Again, I think this, okay, let's put it this way. This is going to be my last observation of the night, and I'm going to try to leave you guys with something positive. I think if we look at life in the detail, we see a lot of tragedy, a lot of like things that go wrong. But if we look at life in the long term, we see that there were also a lot of positive things, and that it was worth living. I think if we go back, and we've been alive for many years now. Like if you go 20 years ago and you had asked us, you open the newspaper, the gas was high back then too. People were complaining about the cost of eggs 20 years ago as well. There was always some kind of war somewhere. But we look back at it now, and we wear a little bit more like rose-colored lenses. We remember like a great love song, a great summer, a date we went on, a great movie that we watched, and we kind of forgot the challenges because those challenges were probably long and gone. So we remember the good things, and so I think if we look at it with a microscope and we look at it now, we're only going to see problems. But if we look at it long term, probably it's not so much of a tragedy. It's there's a little bit of a comedy sprinkled here and there.
I'm glad you're ending on this note, because this is something I brought up on Friday. I brought this up on Friday, July 3rd. It was a hot ass day, as you know. And I was doing my morning stream. Yes. I was doing my morning stream, and I was thinking about this here too. I was thinking about what I had seen, and does everything feel like it's getting worse? And is there anything that you can say has gotten better and all that stuff? And what I realized from reading the comments, whereas everybody was talking about things that they feel is just completely bottoming out, I wasn't like, I was actually getting inspired by how upset people were, because I think that we are just so close to a perspective shift on what this really means. For example, a lot of our parents and grandparents, they trusted television, they trusted their doctors, they trusted the government with everything. There were skeptics back then, but they were few and far between. They were the black sheep in the family. And perhaps the institutions were actually a lot more trustworthy, even though we know that everything gets infiltrated and we're in a place where we're very low trust society all over the place. And I think about that and I say, well, if you were that black sheep back in the 50s and the 60s, that's a kind of lonely place for you to be. You see, you're projecting, you're looking at the slippery slope. You say, okay, I believe we are at the top of the slippery slope right now, and we're going to see a dip in civil liberties. We're going to see a dip in quality of food. We're seeing, I see snakes getting into every garden and all that other shit, and nobody believes me. I'm just, crazy Uncle Dan, whatever, from 1965. And now I believe that there are so many more black sheep that when I see everybody making note about the quality of products and services and things getting more expensive, or that movies really suck right now and it's hard to find good music in the mainstream or anything else like that, or that you can't trust the news and everybody is just sick of influencers and everybody shaking their asses and all that other stuff. And I say to myself, this to me is wonderful, because now what I see is that more than ever before, we're getting closer to a critical mass of people who at least can articulate what doesn't feel good anymore and what we want the opposite of. And then we are very, very close at that point from just making the decision to, I don't know, how do we get together? How do we do shit together? How do we have more meetups? How do we go out and leave all the nonsense behind, stop trying to put the weight of the world on our shoulders, say, how do we influence, put a little bit more market pressure on Hollywood to make good movies again? Fuck them. Fuck Hollywood. Walk away from everything again, and we can do things without them. I think all the best things in life are really, really simple. The things that we get the most out of, our core memories and stuff, they're simple. They're not a lot of money, and I really think that we're just a perspective shift away from just getting out of the house and seeking out people who are obviously all around us. The internet is showing us it's an outlet for people who are expressing that they don't like the quality of things and they want something better. And I think that's a great thing. It means that we're closer to people just being fed up enough to leave the damn house. So, more jamborees, more spring flings. That's what I think. Yes. That's what I can do personally, but still.
Great observation, Frank.
Anywho, let's go to our super chats, and let's flip on over to the flip side. I don't want to keep you too late because you have a new baby you got to get back home to.
Thank you.
But let's do this real quick. Over on super chats, come on, show it to me. Of course. All right, we'll go to Rumble first. Got a nice crowd of people hanging out on Rumble, and our super chatter is Jay Semo, of course. Says, "Cheers, Frank. Cheers to you, Jay, and thank you for the support. It is much needed." Over on Pilled, Nathan says, "Let's get this thing going." Safety Net says, "ET phone home." There you go. Tommy Jekyll says, "When I was growing up in the 60s and 70s, the 4 local general practitioners, pretty amazing number for the size of the town, owned their own practices. There was not some unseen overlord doctor telling them what was ethical and how to practice medicine." And we need a lot more of that. We need doctors doing a lot more of their own stuff and connecting with communities and making house calls. And sure, they could be part of greater networks or university systems if they want, but they have the license. They should practice direct care, and they should bring that as an option to people, especially people who are on restricted budgets and they can't afford insurance anymore. Insurance is the biggest scam right now that it has ever been.
Big issue.
Safety net. I once had a 4-year-old say to me that she thinks that everything is fake and that nothing is real. I told her that someday in the future she and I would have a lot more talks about that. Yeah. Tommy Jekyll says the leash on medicos these days may be a kind of long, but it is there nonetheless. Amethyst Cat says, Happy Tuesday, Frank and Alberto. Alberto, congratulations on the new baby.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Tommy, so Frank, we were a hair's breadth away from quite fuddly. A hair's breadth away from quite fuddly. What does that mean? I don't understand it. Anyway, I'll get it'll click for me later on, Tommy. I'm sorry, I'm slow right now. It's been a long day, and it's going to be a long night. Silly Boar, thank you. Amethyst Cat, thank you. Free Froggin, I appreciate you. Sent the ship. I haven't seen Free Froggin in there. Amethyst, Awakened Boomer says, Hi, Frank. Congrats to Alberto and the wife and the new baby. Some shekels for the shekels. Hallelujah. Nathan W. says, bullets interact with bodies in strange ways. Hollywood ruins people's perception of normal where projectiles are concentrated. Oh, wait. Normal where projectiles are concerned isn't. There is no normal.
Mm-hmm. Yep. What we were saying, yes.
Let me see here. Khaleesi, thank you. Tracer, there he is. Hey, that guy Tracer is obviously on drugs. Just saying. There's Tracer again. And then Rev says, Frank, I'm late to the party. Not sure if it's been a topic, but you will be shocked to learn that we are bombing Iran again. I know it's hard to imagine. Best ceasefire ever. Well, you know, little break for the 4th of July, and now it's fireworks for real. Yeah, here we go. U.S. Central Command forces have begun launching a series of powerful strikes against Iran to impose heavy costs for targeting and attacking commercial shipping crews by innocent civilians in an international waterway. I mean, I thought that there was nothing left of Iran's ability to make war in like the first week. How are they still bombing people? This is what I don't get with the messaging here. The U.S. strikes are in response to Iranian attacks on 3 commercial vessels that were transiting the Strait of Hormuz. Iran's demonstrated aggression was unwarranted, dangerous, and a clear violation of the ceasefire. You know, it's one thing if you're not going to blow up, if you don't want to impact their civilians by blowing up bridges and all that other stuff, but damn.
These are very complex situations. You remember the term fog of war?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think now we're in the phase of the war that there's a lot of fog of war. It's hard to identify really who's behind these attacks. You know, there's probably no real organized central government anymore in Iran. There's probably different factions. It's probably an open field for infiltration from other forces. Where are they getting these drones that are targeting the civilian ships passing through the Strait of Hormuz? Like, who knows who's really launching these attacks?
Yeah.
Again, the fog of war, very interesting. I mean, it's a pit of vipers over there. I hope that some, we don't have all the information. I hope that the people at Central Command really have it together and can make some improvements. Yes,
perhaps. And before we go, I just want to say thank you to Southern Girl, who has resubscribed, Southern Girl 007, for 2 months in a row over there on Twitch. I'm loving Twitch. Running on empty. Says I wasn't planning ahead here. It wasn't planned ahead. They also dug out 10 inches of soil to put in pavers. Christian says, I'm in for the silver. I want to add, remember the old guy that dropped his pants and waved his arms in the air immediately after he was shot? Odd coincidence. Oh, see, that's the thing. There's all types of stuff in there. And there's all types of like I said, we've been psyop to oblivion. There's so much going on. So many odd things happening here. Sapphire Blue says, great ending to a show. Thank you. And Stowstube, thank you as well. I have a little personal history for you on the flip side, everybody. and it's a 19-year anniversary today. Is a 19-year anniversary of something very important. So we'll talk about that on the flip side, and we're going to go there right now. I have your Instagram, Alberto, that is linked in the description of the episode. At least I have the tag in there.
Yeah.
But is that where people should go to find you?
Yeah, that's perfect, guys. Add me on my Instagram. I try to get back to everybody that sends me DMs. And yeah, that's it. Great.
Please go follow him. Alberto is such a great guy to follow and great guy to interact with. There he is right there. Alberto Monto BJJ. And that's it. Just at that and find him. And there you go. Wonderful. Beautiful, beautiful. All right. Thank you, everybody. And thank you, Alberto, for being here.
Thank you, Frank, for having me. Always a pleasure.
It is always a pleasure. Next time next time we hang out, hopefully Vinny will be here too.
Yeah, I missed Vinny tonight.
Yeah, it was a good time. But you know what? It's all right. I take what I can get, and it'll get better and better from here on in. Have a good one, everyone. I will catch you on the flip side. The links will be in the description of the episode. And if you liked this, please go to quitefrankly.tv and hit up top on the screen. There, right there, Culture Club. If you're home, we'll catch you on the flip side. The links will be in the description. See, that's what the homepage looks like. Go up there, hit the Culture Club, and look how you can sponsor the show. Become a member of the Culture Club. It's huge. There's right there through the website. $5 is all it takes, but if you want to pledge more, that would be wonderful. Exclusive access to movie nights, book club with Frank. We're starting next week, but we're going to do a movie this month as well. We're going to watch Idiocracy with Jay Gulanello. Follow back on Twitter, special discounts and promo codes, links to behind-the-scenes Sunday streams, access to members-only blogs, whatever. If you get sign-up bonuses of Keto Brain samples, stickers, a handwritten welcome note from me, a Polaroid, more. If you pledge more than $10 or more, you also get a 20th anniversary shirt that I was wearing last night. So quitefrankly.tv/sponsor. And if you want something special, below there are the links to Patreon or Subscribestar. That's where you can get on Polaroids and postcards and mailbag subscriptions and all that stuff. Those are all the specialty tiers. But anybody who just wants to support the show and get the big universal perks, please. It is a huge year. It's only going to get bigger. And I'd love to have as much of this audience behind me. A little goes a long way. Thanks again. I'll see you in the flip. You son of a bitch. I keep doing it.
I'll catch you on the flip side.
Thank you, everybody. It's been great to have you, but it's not over just yet. I'll catch you on the flip side. Go and check out the links that I put in that chat room. And thank you for all of your support. Thank you to our super chatters. And tomorrow is another day. I'll see you then.